Welcome to KDKP Noire. I'm K Noire, and it's hot here. And it's like 5, 6 a.m. in the morning here. So thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to be with you, but I'm trying to get this out before it gets any hotter here. Let's get talking. One of the things that came up was for me, like when I was looking at different things, if you're looking at, performances and things like that are happening, don't forget KCON, don't forget Lollapalooza, and let's be clear, you were BTS is still doing their worldwide tour. They were in Madrid, shut it down. Audiences really love them, but these guys are just going everywhere. K-pop is everywhere. I just can't like even fathom like it's just such a movement. Different people and K-pop being everywhere. I saw the Vanity Fair video interview with Katseye. And these girls, they liked that video. I liked that interview, how they talked about, their growth, how they talked about coming into the industry, how they talked about how they've grown as a group and how they depend on each other. I love that about them. That was significant. And they also talked about being a global girl group, not just K-pop, but global girl group. I think they've made significant strides in everything that they've done since they debuted. And, you know, they've just taken off. I mean, like they've been on every award show. They just recently, I think we saw them on the American Music Awards, and they got a huge award for that. So, you know, shout out to Cat's Eye. But one thing that they talked about was Manon and how, she's still on hiatus, how she's, taking care of her, doing her thing, taking care of herself. I really respect that. But if I'm going to be clear today, since I'm all outside, on everything, I am so incredibly disappointed at how the Manon situation is playing out. Not for Cat's Eye as a group, because I think they're handling it as best they can and what the label expects them to do. But let's get clear and talk about that. Manon is a true talent. She, everybody saw during the whole filming of Dream Academy that she was the one they had the most issues with, allegedly. And, you know, it's just one of those things. That's how they do it. That's how things are made. So it's very ironic that she would be the one that they put on hiatus after she made the group. Not only that, you see her in different aspects. She was on, the German Next Top Model, which is similar to America's Next Top Model, where she was a judge on there. She used to do modeling, so that's very fitting for her. Then you saw her modeling in some runway shows. You saw her at Coachella with Pink Pantheress. You've seen her out, so it's not like she's just like on hiatus and not coming outside. She was at Coachella, but she wasn't with Katseye. She was over there at Pink Pantheress. So it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know any other way to say it. It doesn't make sense. I think we always see K-pop groups come out and they say, such and such is on hiatus. They're doing this, they're doing that, they're taking care of themselves. That's fine. But a lot of times you don't see these idols out. So I don't know what the difference is with this or why, but I'm telling y'all, we got to get this together and we got to put it together more differently than what we're doing. This girl, Hive, as big a company as a conglomerate as they are, they deserve to make a statement. If she's done, she's done. Okay, that's fine. Let her be done on Cat's Eye and let's move on. Cat's Eye is continuously moving on, but I don't think it's fair to them as a group. I don't think it's fair to her as part of that group. But the one thing that I have to say, I'm very surprised at how it's handled, and I just don't know what else to say about it. But let's get it right. Do something, get it right. Make it clear to the fans, to the group, to whoever needs to hear it, what the status of this girl is, and if she's coming or if she's leaving. It's just like a Shark Tank. You either in or you out. And I had to say, I'd be happy for her either way. If she was in the group, yeah, that would be great. But if she's out, yeah, that's great too, because she's going to still make it regardless. That's one thing that I know. So I'm finished talking about that. Moving along to the next thing. Let's talk about Mark. Mark started left NCT. Everybody know about fell out, because I love Mark because he was like the franchise player. I say that because they can plug and play him into any area of SM NCT and he would do great. It's just what it is. He's just that talented. But he started his own label with Upper Room. And when he did that, you know, I was so excited. I thought Upper Room, there's some like significance to it possibly. They come out like a couple of weeks later after this was announced, some of them bought a little Confederate t-shirt. Now, If you don't know what that means to to most people here in the United States, the Confederate flag, is known just for that Southern, this is what they did at that time. It's offensive to some people, because in certain areas, and I will say, in certain areas of the South, they still, display the Confederate flag. Some people like it, some people don't, but it's a symbolism of something, an era and a time that we no longer have. But sometimes in most states, in some places, it's still a symbolism to some people believe to be racism. So when it's worn or when it's shown or when it's, put into different aspects of somebody's music or something, it gets to be a little questionable. So, Mark, I got to ask you, I don't know who your stylist is, but they need to do their homework. You've got to be able to do your homework and know your audience. You have black people, white people, Asian people. You have people of all races in a melting pot of audience coming and looking at you and just really supporting you at this time when you're going on your own. Don't let people such as stylists or other people, don't let them put you in a situation where you got to explain to anybody about a shirt. A shirt? We're talking a shirt that you're wearing. We've seen this happen time and time again in K-pop. And again, I'm gonna say it again. Know your audience and know the people that you're hiring. Those people that you're hiring, they need to do their homework. There's no way that I'm gonna hire somebody that's not gonna know my style, what I'm doing, and not gonna put me out in the best version, representation of myself as possible. If there's a question on it, I'm not gonna wear it. Point blank, period. I'm not gonna do it. It's just what it is. And I think that we have to be more cognizant about that. So, Mark, know your people. Get your people online. Don't let them start questioning you. This is a big step for you. You're a star in your own right, but people shouldn't have to question a T-shirt. It's just what it is. No T-shirt. They know you for your music. They shouldn't have to question what you're wearing when you're presenting it. It's just what it is. So I'm moving on. Speaking of Cha Eun-woo, he's in his military service. We already know, so he was cleared of his tax, issues and everything. But he recently got baptized as a Catholic and is showing up to be, I think they said John the Baptist or John the Apostle. That's the name he's going to take on. Well, let me tell you something. Y'all got to be careful with that because if you are in that type of religion, I don't care what religion it is, where it's Catholic, Buddhism, with the Quran, with, it doesn't, Allah, it doesn't matter. God Himself, I don't care. You've got to be careful how you present yourself, period. As we saw, Mark labeled his record company Upper Room, but Cha Eun-woo getting baptized as a Catholic in some countries, Catholicism is different than what most people do because in most Asian countries that's not the religion of choice sometimes. But everybody has a choice. But I'm just saying that if you're going to take on a name, know the meaning behind that name, the reason why, and know how your audience is going to take to that. You know, maybe, say, this is why I'm doing it, or maybe not. I'm not sure, but it was just a little bit, it gave a little bit sus, a little bit sketch with that because I was like, hmm, you just got baptized and then you're taking on this name. Sometimes you just need to get baptized and just be cleansed. You don't need to take on no names and nothing else. Just let God do His work and let it be done. Then you can take on whatever name you can want after that, knowing that He's done that work. But that's another editorial for another time. But I'm just saying, you gotta be careful how you do things. Moving right along. Let's talk SM. Y'all know I love SM. I love them because SM does R&B like no other. And they're looking for their next girl and boy group. They're trying to put together a new group setting for competitive in the market that they're in. Because you see, Hype is always searching and always done, you know, they're putting together new groups and laying them out like they're planting, seeds in water. You see, JYP, he has not a lot of new groups, but his groups have longevity and stability. So, you're doing it. Blackpink, like it. You have to do it to be competitive in the market. And I hope that they find this group, girl group, boy group, and put it out, and it's a banger. Like most of the stuff that they currently already do. Long Shot. There's been a lot of controversy around Long Shot. and it's really not that they're doing anything wrong. It's just that there's controversy because they're up under Jay Park and more vision. And that shouldn't be an issue, but some people have, their opinions about them being with Jay Park. Why? When he's going out on tour, some people think that he is using them to go out on tour to do things. I don't know the half of that. To me, when with with 2 p.m., he came out in a time when hip hop, R&B, all that was the magnet of the staple of everything. It is what it is. And some people can relate how he manages his group to, you know, greats like Jay-Z, which he used to be up under Jay-Z's label, to the other artists, up under, at that time that was significant with Bad Boy and different things like that. Some people relate that to that. But at the end of the day, I think that he is trying to make sure that they are seen. I think that he is trying to make sure that, he leverages who he is as an artist, to bring out who they are as new artists and up and coming artists. And, some people don't like it, but I personally, I'm like, let him do it. And they're going to make it regardless. I think that when you combine what they do, and they got, the four members and one being the, what they call the Justin Bieber of K-pop, I don't think they're going to go wrong. When you look at, all of them as a whole, as a unit, they're going to do great regardless. And I say we support them and do whatever they got to do in this moment. Support J Part too, whether you like it or don't like it. Think about the music and see where it's going to elevate to and get to. So, with that being said, let's talk about Cortis. Cortis has been in some controversy here too lately. They just got brought out Red Red, which we've all seen, we all love. We love anything that these guys do, but the controversy has been, basically a couple of things. One, there are people complaining that when they get on a flight, it is delayed because these guys, commercial flight, are coming and they're late. So they're bringing them in like they're stars and they're late boarding and all this other kind of stuff. Let me tell you something. Hi, I don't know where y'all jet is, but y'all got to have like, I would think as a bigger conglomerate as they are, you've got to have some type of jet or a partnership with a jet company, private jet company, that you can get these people around. Because if they are still flying commercial at any point, and I mean, like they've proven this stuff. They've been out about a year, and these guys have taken over. They've been in places most people have never gone, at that stage in their career. So high get them on a private jet and get them where they need to be. And don't hold up anybody else in the process. That's the way I look at it. That's just me. But the other thing they were talking about is how, I guess, a fan or somebody, or maybe a paparazzi, somebody put a GPS tracker on their vehicle, on Cortis's vehicle. Come on, people. You've got to be kidding me. I just can't. Is it that serious? Because, listen, I had that done to me personally with somebody that I dated, and I was done. But because of the industry that I'm in, I'm like, you know what? We can take this, really to court and see how this plays out. And that's exactly what Hybe is doing. They're saying, we're not going to play these games with anybody. If you're doing that to get to these guys, we're going to make sure we track you and get you in the court and sue you for whatever you did. And that's a smart move on their part, because that was extreme. Like, it's extreme. I mean, just like with the fan, let's talk about it. The BTS fan, the Jungkook fan to be more specific, who rang his doorbell 133 times. 133 times. You at his private estate ringing his door 133 times. Girl, if he don't answer after the first two, he ain't gonna answer. So why are you doing that? And especially your fan. First of all, how do you get to him? I don't understand that myself, but I'm just saying. I mean, like, you can't ring my doorbell. Maybe you might get two tries, but on the third try, if I don't want to talk to you, I'm not answering. And you continue to ring my door, I'm calling the cops. You got to get out. And for her to have been a fan, you got to be kidding me. There's not that much love in the world. I don't mean that no harm, because I love BTS. I love Jungkook. I love all of them. But I ain't going to nobody's house. I ain't gonna do that. Now, I might see you outside and be like, "Oh, can I take a picture or whatever, whatever?" And even then, I don't even think I even do that. I'd be like one of those fans from afar. I'm gonna give you your privacy because I'm gonna want somebody to do that for me. Um, you just got to. I remember we met this guy. He used to play on the show One Tree Hill. We met him when we went into this sub shop, and he was coming out, and I was like, "Oh gosh, that's you!" And he was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "Do you want a picture?" And I was like, "No, no, no. We were just happy to see you. You do a great job." I was like, "No, no, no pictures necessary." I was like, "We want to respect your privacy." And he was like, "Oh my God. You're a fan that wants to respect my privacy?" He was like, "Thank you." He said, "But for that," he was like, I'll give you a picture. I'll give you anything you want." He said, "Just because you're not even trying to get one from me." And I was like, "See, that's how you do things. Even though they're fans, they don't belong to us. The music that they do, we love it, we enjoy it, but they have a life too. And I think you gotta let them live it." That's just my opinion, but I'm moving on. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm going to continue to, do the best that I do. I really appreciate it. It's hot here, but it's going to be even hotter later, so I'm gonna sign off now. So thank you.